Hello, friends. This reflection is for the 32nd Sunday of Ordinary Time. Now, last week we talked about the theme of loving God and our neighbor. This week, what we see here is kind of a drastic change a little bit here, where Jesus talks about praising a woman who gives everything that she has. Now, in order for us to understand it, we have to understand that there's a theme of trusting in God that surfaced in the readings this Sunday. Now, if you ever look at a coin in the United States, there is a 4-word theme that has been the motto of the United States since 1956. And that is, "In God we trust." You most likely will see it on a quarter, assuming you know what that is these days. Because I know some of you Zoomers out there probably have no idea what a coin is. All you are used to is the plastic card when you're making your payments. You might want to resort to cash. But I digress. I think if there's a way for us to understand the first book of Kings as well as Mark's gospel, is that there's a theme of trust. The widow did have much to offer to Elijah, who, let's keep in mind too, there was a famine, there was a drought, and there was very little resources. As a matter of fact, there's some parts of the country that are going through a drought at this moment because there wasn't a lot of rain that happened in October. Maybe a drizzle here and there, but that was it. But some people are going to get long overdue rain coming, so bear with me here. But I think if there's something to understand from the readings, is that we are called to trust God when things are not going our way. Now, it has been often said that we must place our trust in God. One of the most common verses from the book of Chronicles reminds us that if people call my name and humble their hearts, I will heal their land. And it will intercede. But it all begins when we place our trust in Him. Simple message of divine mercy. Jesus, I trust in you. Isn't that so powerful? It's powerful. It's awesome, right? But I think what we understand from the widow is that she realized that she has not much to offer, but in the end, she placed her trust in God, who was in the form of the prophet Elijah. And he pretty much had like a journey, to get to where he was to make this act of faith happen. And trust me, I would be one of those people that would not be sure, but every so often you just gotta give God your total surrender. Give your total surrender and He'll take care of it. Now, in the gospel, what we see here is that people, for the most part, were given from their wealth. Whereas this woman, she only had 2 coins, and when she gave way, Jesus praised her. Usually at the end of November, there's always this Given Tuesday campaign, right? Late November, early December-ish. And you're going to get bombarded, no doubt, from nonprofits asking you to give money, to support a cause, right? I think in the case for us, as we also look back, as we're kind of wrapping up the year here a little bit, well, liturgically speaking, we are. Then, of course, the calendar year. And we were bombarded with emails. And we're going to get this every year, no doubt, about someone who's running for political office. Perhaps you're supporting a Catholic organization that has missionaries that go about maybe to evangelize on campus or spread the gospel in any way, shape, or form, right? And they give you the story, but when you get to the bottom line, guess what they ask for? Yep, money, right? Further, to kick off the liturgy of the Eucharist, what takes place at Mass? The offertory, right? And you see ushers, maybe carrying like a basket on a stick. You could drop whatever you please, drop your church envelope, first collection, and every so often there's a second collection, like seminary appeal that's happening where I am now, or oftentimes something to give to the poor to help underdeveloped, also help countries underdeveloped, what have you. I think if there's one thing that we have to understand is we may have, we not many of us are going to have a really, deep pockets or 7, 8, 9, 10 figures in the bank. But I think if there's one thing that God calls us to do is to give. A wise priest once said in a homily, be more giving than receiving. And I think that's something we also have to understand, especially with Advent approaching, is that we must learn to give. Now, I'm not saying deplete your whole bank account, just for one person or, 10 different charities of your choice. I mean, those are great, right? But it's not like you don't have to give the treasure for someone. Rather, maybe God is calling you to give your time to someone, whether someone needs help, someone needs to go to the supermarket and get groceries for a week or two, right? Maybe someone is lonely at the hospital. Maybe their family are far away or they don't have family at all. Maybe there's someone that you know who probably lost a loved one and they have no one to turn to but you. There were times that I thought I was going to be lonely, but, I had people that reach out and, it takes a phone call. It takes a knock on the door. It takes a text message, be like, hey, I'm thinking of you. I hope you're okay. I think there's something, if you could also add to it, would be another layer to it. It's like, how can I pray for you? You're giving spiritual alms right there. Not corporal alms, but spiritual. I think it's something God is asking us to do. God's not just asking us to give money. Rather, he also wants us to give from the heart. He wants us to give our time to others. Every time we give alms, whether corporal or spiritual, it is an act of love. And I think that's something we have to keep in mind too, when, especially, as we concluded a very tumultuous political cycle, which I'm not going to go into further detail, but y'all understand the point. There are people that are probably celebrating the candidate they were polling for, like, they're probably celebrating. And I'm just not talking about the presidency, but also like other political offices, Then you have those probably felt like they fell short, I think a challenge I could leave here in this video, my friends, is that, find someone or make a list of people that that had a bad year or been having a rough time. Job loss, physical or mental ailments. They have no one to look to. Maybe a student that is struggling for whatever reason. Maybe there's some things going on at home. Maybe there's some issues, some mitigating issues you're not aware of. You just got to take that time to develop that relationship. And it goes a long way. Give, my friends. Give your time, give your treasure, and give God to someone who needs him. God bless.